driver off the deck for Corey Connors.
Here's driver off the deck for Victor Hovland.
So the driver off the deck. I know you would try this, right?
Oh my, what a shot.
Just to be able to hit it off the deck and get that thing down and fly it and running.
You have to put your foot on the gas. You pull out the driver off the deck and you put it on the green all the way up the hill.
Welcome to another episode of Off the Deck. I'm your host, Josh Decker. Thrilled to have Bill Bender with us tonight. Bill, how are we doing, my friend?
Cheers. How you
Cheers
doing,
to that. What are you sipping on this evening?
I actually just I came in. I was looking at what I had open. One of our first bottlings, a 15-year Indiana bourbon, 143.5 proof. And there was only 67 bottles in this barrel.
Whoa.
Yeah. So we the joys of doing events last week. Was it last weekend? I don't even know. It was two weekends ago. We had Bourbon Bonanza here, so we pulled a bunch of inventory for that Saturday night for the tasting, and I get the spoils of war at the house. So
That is awesome. That's actually a great introduction. So obviously this is a podcast called Off the Deck. So the premise is golf and people involved with golf, but I'm incredibly fascinated by your bourbon background and how all that came to be. So we can get to the golf later on. When did you create, you have your own label. When did that begin?
Oh, well, the start of Bender Stash.
Yeah.
So, I was in hospitality for about 20 years, and I did lots of consulting and building bars, physically designing bars and bar programs and whiskey programs and cocktail programs. And I did that all over, up and down like the Eastern Seaboard. I was in Florida for 20 years. And I was approached one day by someone that said, hey, you should just do your own TV show. Like Anthony Bourdain of whiskey. And I said, well, that's stupid. Said, no, you can just do it. You can just go around the country and go around the country and drink some whiskey with, master distillers and owners of speakeasies and bars and, everywhere in between. Got a little bit of cash and, shot from South Florida to Vermont to Park City, Utah, and everywhere in between. For like 16 weeks, something like that. 16 weeks, 32 different locations. And it was great. I came home and picked some barrels of Willett, and those things kind of went viral. And I was done hospitality at that point. Like my last bar was my bar in South Florida was like my grand exit out of like, I can't do anything better than this. Like, this is it. I'm not topping this. And I'm also not working 80 hours a week ever again in my life because, at that point I was 38, 39, pushing 40. I don't want to be that old miserable bartender behind the bar. So, COVID hits and freaking writer strikes and, forest fires in California and, everything under the sun. And, the show gets pushed a little bit and some of my friends down in South Florida were sitting at the golf course actually before we started playing. They were like, why don't you start your own brand? And I said, what do you mean? So start Bender Stash whiskey. Like, we'll give you money and you go buy 12 barrels and, use your logo and slap it on a label and let's make it happen. And I said, yeah, okay, cool. And they go, then they say, well, come back to us in a day or two with a business plan. And I say, you got it. And then I get in the car after we play golf and I'm looking at myself in the rearview mirror and I'm like, I'm a bartender for 20 years. It's like, I didn't go to school for business. Like, I failed out of college in 1998. Like, I feel like I don't know anything about business. Any of that.
A business plan? What's a business plan?
Business plan. It was like, yeah, give me money, I'll buy barrels, and then I'll make more money. Like, is that a good business plan? I think it is. So then my partner now, I called him up and I said, hey man, you're business savvy. Like, I started businesses left and right. And he said, you know what? It's funny enough. I have a business plan for a whiskey project that he was going to do in 2018. It didn't work out for some reason. And he said, we could just implement it to this. We bought some barrels, we we were coming out of COVID. You know, we talked about it in 21, 22. We were coming out of COVID when we first started like kicking it. You know, in 22, trying to get whiskey, trying to get labels, trying to get glassware. And like the funniest part about it was is when we were starting, I thought, you know, my biggest anxiety attack was, where's the whiskey going to come? We're the smallest, you know, we're on the bottom peg, you know, on a ladder, smallest fish in the pond. Like, where are we going to get good whiskey? And that would actually turn out to be the easiest thing that happened to us. The hardest thing was the labels and the, you know, even the boxes, because we were coming out of COVID and everybody's like, oh, it's a 20-week lead time for glassware for the bottles. Like, it was wild. But, you know, slowly but surely, you know, we started rolling it out. And this was actually our first bottling, actually. This bottle, we had 4 sister barrels of this. And a big blend of 14-year. I'm sure you've tried at least one of these at Sweetens at some point. I'm sure Hardbrook definitely has a bottle or something like that. But yeah, so
yeah, oh yeah,
you know,
I've had it.
There you go. So I met a bunch of.
That's crazy to me that you said that the easy part was getting the actual whiskey. Because, and I know just enough to be dangerous about your industry in terms of that there are mass producers that lots of organizations or companies source from. So you were able to go get really good barrels and then what was the timeline like from purchasing those barrels? Because we all know the aging process is vital to producing good whiskey. What was the timeline like from purchasing those barrels to then actually them being bottled? Where did you age them? How did you age them? I mean, did you already have a rick house or where were these being stored?
So they were, you know, barrel brokers that, you know, we got in touch with, and, you know, we shook some hands and you know, got pointed in the right direction to a few people. And, you know, there's brokers everywhere. You know, we're looking for older juice. You know, we're not looking for stuff right now, obviously, to lay down and to age. You know, we're looking for stuff that we could put in the bottle, but not, you know, fast, quick money type, you know, put anything in the barrel or in the bottle. You know, we're looking for specific flavor profiles and, you know, even, you know, proof was kind of a bigger thing in the beginning, but now it's not. I don't really care about it anymore. But definitely flavor profiles to match, you know, what, you know, my face is on the bottles. You know, I can't put anything in there, and I wanted to hold true to my mentality about bourbon and rye. You know what I mean? So yeah, so we bought it from brokers, but they were all over the place. Literally, some of it was in Lexington, some of it was here. There was some, I think, in South Carolina somewhere, but it was basically all over the place. Some in Indiana. And then we finally got it all down to one spot in Frankfurt. Whiskey Thief. They were our first bottling and barrel holder for us, you know, before the big move, obviously, 3 months ago to Willett. But yeah, man, they were all over the place. And then once we had them all on the same thing, I would be there every day. I'd be kicking barrels outside, you know, leave it outside for, you know, 3 weeks, let it rain, let it snow, you know, let the sun bake it. I'm a big fan of like that kissed by Mother Nature type thing, which is kind of illegal. We don't really do that anymore, but you know.
Okay, I was about to say, that's the first I've ever heard of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing what it does.
So you acquire 12 barrels from all over the country from these brokers, and you've got some people that clearly believe in you and know your talents and strengths and your ability to taste good whiskey and identify good whiskey. The process of then getting it out of those barrels and into bottles post-COVID, you already said that it was the glassware. What is that something y'all do on site yourself? What does that look like for I guess at the time, and please don't take, I mean, boutique whiskey, right? Like that's kind of what you were at this point, correct?
We're still boutique ultra premium. We're an ultra premium whiskey brand. You know, like I said, we're not putting anything in there that's half-assed. It's going to be very, very good juice in the bottle. But yeah, you know, you got to go through the hoops, the government hoops and flaming hoops, jumping over walls, you know, signing forms, filling out, you know, all this stuff. And getting the labels approved, you know, was like a nightmare. It's like, okay, here you go. And they're like, well, you got to do this, and that. And then we go do this, and that. And then something else is wrong, you know, or it just needs to be tweaked. So it's like the nitpicking, like the whole, you know, everybody wants to be basically, it's like, you're a bartender and you're just like, hey, what's up? You're having a good time and you're pouring, but that bar manager behind you has got to do the inventory. He's got to, order all the stuff, all the back of the house stuff, like the admin stuff. Like there was so much admin that went into this, which luckily my partner is good at admin as well. So, if there was a lot, it was a lot. And I kind of, when we first started the first year or two, that we opened, to answer your question, it was probably like 6 months before we put it in the bottle, we could sell it. After we got the whiskey. But, I did a lot by myself here when we first started. And I kind of strayed away from, being the idiot on Instagram that everybody, pretty much knew me as. And, now we have a team now and kind of like getting back to that, being more aware, more, in the public eye, so we could sell barrels. This is how we started it. We started it off my Instagram, and that's how we sell. We don't spend anything on advertisement at all.
That's
We
crazy.
spend not one dime on it. And I've sold about 100 barrels in the last 3.5 months. So
Just through social media and Instagram.
yes,
That is wild.
wild. It's wild.
And so you guys do all of the bottling yourself. I mean, every one of your products, you don't do anything batched, correct? Everything is single barrel.
Everything is single barrel as of right now. Yes. And we actually, since we moved to Willett's actually taken over everything. Like, the distribution, don't worry, this is the state it's going in. Just tell me where it's going. We're taking care of all that. We're going to put the label in for approval for the state. We're going to, we're going to order the glassware for you. We're doing everything for you, like what Willett does for their own single barrels, but they're doing it for us now. And all I have to do is order samples that they pull samples from, from their rick houses on Willett. And, we still have our source stuff that's not Willett, but then they give me the samples. I go do my thing. I sell barrels, and then we put it in a bottling list, and then they do it and they ship it out.
That's incredible. So
yeah.
Everything that is you're picking from Willett, is it a Bender stash or is it a Willett product?
So we have full transparency, which is it's amazing. Drew Colsby, the owner of Willett, is a very good friend of mine. We actually have the same birthday. Dude golfs, he smokes cigars. It's great. Obviously likes
Oh, that's
whiskey.
cool.
Yeah. So they're taking care of all of that stuff. They're doing everything. They're just doing everything for us. Which makes everything a lot easier for me to sell more. It's a stress reliever, but now we're just so inundated with backlogs of groups that want to pick, and it's not a bad thing. I'm good with it. The more the merrier. So we're in a good space right now. We're in a good spot. So with the whiskey, we're still if there's a wild turkey, which we just bought, we're gonna buy wild turkey. If there's some kind of Buffalo Trace that might be good, we'll buy that. Barton, which we're a big fan of, we're gonna buy that too. It's all gonna go to Willett, and it's all gonna go into their warehouses to age, or to rest. As far as we have, total transparency with Willett, we have access to their experimental barrel list, which is about 1,200 barrels, and it ranges from 6, 5, 4 to 9, 4 to 11 years old. I think that's what it is, and it's amazing. It's everything that you could possibly imagine, nothing that you've ever thought of. I mean, sometimes I see the inventory list, and I'm like, what's that? And it's like, oh, there's 30 barrels of it. It's like, can I have 50, can I have 15 samples of this lot? And they're like, yeah, sure, no problem. And then I just get a big box of samples and I go through it. And I'm like, I've never even knew this existed, at Willett. It's absolutely wild. Then Nikki will come home and she'll be like,
That's incredible.
Sit down, babe. Let's go. We're going to taste some whiskey today.
We have 15 whiskeys to taste. Get ready.
It's more like 60. It's more like 60 every time we get a sample pull. It's like 40 to 60. It's nuts. It's absolutely crazy. But yeah, so that's all that stuff. Now the Willett family estate stuff, like the purple top stuff, like that we don't have access to that. That's their normal mash bills and all that stuff. Like I'm talking like 4-grain mash bills and char 1 instead of char 4, or a different kind of cooperage. Yeah, Hoffmeister, like big Missouri oak stuff, Mizunara. Japanese oak. We have access to all that stuff, and it's amazing. It's absolutely wild.
That's incredible.
Very good
I had no
stuff.
idea there was that wide of a range just of the
I
oak.
mean, the Mashbills too. Mashbills are nuts. They range. I mean, it's crazy. I could literally sit here. If I read them all down a list, it would take me 10 minutes of everything that we have access to.
So obviously the news about your partnership with Willett, that was really cool to see, and I'm sure you're thrilled about, and just having access to all their capabilities, everything they can do from the bottling to the labeling, I'm sure that simplified things substantially for you and your team. The other really cool thing that I think you're still working on, or it may have already happened, I know I've texted you a couple times when I've been in Sky Clubs, is the partnership with Delta Airlines. Is that still on the horizon? Is that still down the road, or are we close to being able to get that in a Sky Club, or no?
It might be. It's still in talks. So before, when we had this opportunity, this was way before the Willett deal, and they needed distribution in 50 different states, and some of them are just so hard, like Washington and Idaho and the Dakotas, stuff like that, places like that, where distribution is really hard.
Alabama, where I live, unfortunately.
Is it? We're not there yet, I don't think. Yeah. So
yeah, you're not. No, Alabama's, it's a wasteland.
Oh yeah. No, we don't. So we're not there yet.
Yeah.
But it's closer to our grasp now that we have, because all of our distribution now is piggybacking off of Willett. So everywhere they are, is where we are. So yes, it's a lot more feasible now for us. So it's another conversation that we can have now with them that we feel confident about.
Nice. Very cool. So now I've met you and we've interacted because of golf. When did your love for the game begin? When did you start playing? Because I don't know any of this about you, and I'm fascinated to hear it. When did you first start playing the game? I've heard you've played at some pretty high level, and so would love to hear more about that.
Well, yeah, I didn't play well, but when I fell in the game, when I fell in love with the game, the year it was 1984. I was 4 years old in 1984. We lived on a golf club that my dad was a member at. With all my uncles, we lived on the first fairway. In the 80s, it was a little bit different, the private country club life than it is now. And there were like Hogan radials. I think they were from the early 80s, Hogan radials. They were blades. They were like cavity back blades. It was wildly looking clubs. And he just sawed off one of his sets.
That's crazy.
And so I'm 4 years old, at the driving range, and he's just like, "Here's a bucket," and he would just let me sit there, and I would hit balls, and I would, 4 years old. What are you gonna do? You just like look at a pile of dirt. You're gonna hit a couple of balls. You're gonna see a bird. Whatever's going on. And I hit an 8-iron, and I finally hit it in the air, and I saw it went boop, and I hit it, and I went. I remember it like it was yesterday. It's crazy because I don't remember if I put deodorant on 2 seconds after I put deodorant on, but I remember an 8-iron when I was 4 years old, and I was like, "Oh, this is it." And I can go outside and after school, and I could do this by myself, and then get me on a putting green. It's like you gotta like I'm kicking and screaming to get off of the putting green. But I played since I was 4, so 41 years I've been playing. And I grew up playing, but we were a baseball family, baseball dominant family. So you couldn't play golf during baseball because you would pop the ball up. And then vice versa. I have a baseball swing, so I had a fade. But you go to college, play good in high school, have a thing in college, but you kind of just make poor decisions when you're 18, 19 years old. And then I came home and I was like, you know what? I could fully concentrate on golf. And I did. And I practiced for, 3 or 4 years, by myself. I did every day. I bartended at night. And it was like 03, something like that. It was December or January. I'm hitting under a heat lamp, in a driving range, and it's a whiteout. I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, why am I here? And, through some certain circumstances, I made it down to South Florida. And then I practiced for another 3 or 4 years every day. Found a coach, Doug Ford Jr., senior. His dad won the Masters, beat Snead of 57, something like that.
That's
And
cool.
he would sit behind me, blind as a bat. He would sit behind me in the car. He would like watch me hit 2 balls, and then he would start to pass out. And then he'd come to the dad. He was so old, that, back then. We're talking 20 years ago. So, and that's great action, kid. And like he would just see the ball the first 5 feet and like shank it and would go that way. And I'd be like, thanks, senior. And then I went to a mini tour event. I think it was 28, 27, 28. They're like, if you win, do you want your amateur status or do you want to, select the pro box? And I was like, fuck that. I'm here. Let's go pro. And then kind of withdrew my amateur status
Right.
there. And yeah, I'm not playing for freaking, I'm playing to keep my cell phone on, shit like that. I was very good and I was good enough. But then the whole mental game comes into play and it took me a long time to try to figure that out. I was a head case. I could go out and throw 3 balls down and shoot 64, 65, 66 in a practice round and then shoot like 80 and have no idea why in, the day of the tournament. And just because I was a head case. And then I kind of finally figured it out a little bit and I won a 2-day tournament. And then I played a 1-day tournament shortly thereafter. We shot like 63 and just didn't make a dime. And I was like, yeah, I'm done.
Whoa.
If there's 359s coming in, 460s, like who am I? But I gave it a shot and I kind of finally figured myself out and my game and I was okay. I wasn't too happy that I quit, but I was okay about it. And then I just played for fun. And now I'm actually playing pretty damn good, just having a good time. I'm never going to not play golf. One of my crutches for sanity, so to speak.
I share that sentiment with you. So what's your handicap now? Because if you were shooting in the low 60s, you had to be probably better than scratch, especially if you were competing at those levels. What are you playing to right now?
I think when I was playing full time at my home course, I was a +6.
Oh my
But
word!
now, dude, forget it. We played Valhalla. When I played Valhalla 2 weeks ago, and these guys were on the first tee, they're like, "What's your handicap?" And I was like, "I don't know, guys." I was like, "I could shoot a 67 or I could shoot an 80 because it's what happened 2 weeks ago. I shot 67, 70, like 81, and then like a 72. It's just like there's no rhyme or reason. So I always say, I'll just play to a scratch, and if I suck on the front nine, we'll adjust, and if I'm beating the shit out of you on the front nine, then
We'll
we'll
adjust.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm here to have a good time.
I love that. So you said
yeah.
you were playing under a heat lamp with snow on the ground when you were growing up. What part of the country was that in?
I was born and raised in New Jersey.
Okay.
In central Jersey, like Princeton area, Mercer County.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was there from 1980 to 2003. And then I moved to Florida from 03 to 23 and then moved here in 23. And it's kind of just like Florida. It's kind of just like New Jersey again, freezing cold winters and snow on the ground. I shoveled snow for the first time in 25 years last year. And I'm going, what the hell is going on? I haven't done this since, 1999. It was wild. Man, I sweat just thinking about it.
Well, we can move on, and we don't have to talk about shoveling snow, but that cracks me up. The golf scene that was there in New Jersey when you were growing up, you mentioned that your dad was part of a club, high-end clubs right there that you played growing up, or was it more like the club that's kind of still a great country club, but not one of the named country clubs that we would know?
No, that club that doesn't exist anymore. The club that my
okay.
Yeah, they shut that thing down, several. So I mean, maybe 2 decades ago.
Okay.
Right around me, I mean, like there was like TPC Azapalana. I mean, but that was in Lawrenceville. My dad in the 70s, he played for the Phillies and the Giants. He was the Giants in the minor leagues and the Phillies in the major leagues. He got offered to join Pine Valley in like 72 or 73, something crazy like that, twice. And he turned it down both times. And it was something ridiculous, like 20 grand. I was like, never forgave him for that. But yeah, we're right kind of near Pine Valley, within an hour. Due process is right there, about an hour.
Yep.
We're great. Where I lived, I was an hour from like Manhattan, an hour from Philly, an hour from the Jersey Shore, and like an hour from like Rawlins, Pennsylvania, where we used to get our baseball gloves, every other year.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
right in the middle of great
That's
golf, man.
incredible.
A lot of great
I'd
golf
love to know
there.
how many people. I'd love to know how many people over the course of history have turned down invitations to Pine Valley, not once but twice. Your dad might be an elite company there.
I have no idea. He's probably the only one.
So I'm sure your pour of choice when you get home is your own juice. But if you're not drinking Bender Stash and not drinking something from Willett, what are you drinking?
I'm really easy, dude. I drink a High Life and I'll drink JTS Brown Bottle and Bond. It's like a $13 bottle of bourbon. Early Times, it's like 25, $30. Old Bardstown Bottle and Bond, JW Dant. Everything sub $20 bottles of Bottle and Bond bourbon, really get me. We're a pair, you know what I mean? It's like a healthy relationship. I don't really drink too much else, man. I got a million samples of stuff here that, if groups buy and they don't take the sample, then I bring it back here. Before Nikki's like, get all this shit out of here. You have too many samples. I'm like, okay. But yeah, I drink cheap stuff, dude.
Which the Early Times Bottled and Bond is one of my favorite pours. And I was telling you that Alabama's a wasteland for bourbon. The Early Times Bottled and Bond is now allocated. And
really,
in Alabama, it's allocated and I can't even find it. It's ridiculous. Like you said,
it was like that here for a little while too.
So are you in Kentucky or are you in Indiana?
Oh no, I'm in Louisville.
No. Okay.
No, I live in Louisville. I think like 15 minutes from Valhalla, which is great.
Oh, okay. Nice. Me and some friends of mine, we actually did a barrel pick at Old Forester. I guess it was 8-9 months ago now, which was a blast. Cool property, cool place.
You should have called me. Could have played.
We did. Your back was hurt, which I was going to ask you. How's the back?
Oh yeah.
How's the back?
Man, I got to tell you, it's actually it's pretty good right now. I'm very touch and go these days. Weather changes that we didn't have in South Florida. Plus, I was about 30 pounds lighter when I moved here, so I take it easy. I take it slow on the driving range. I'm like, skate 2 more, Yeah.
So I think we actually have we have the same disc that has issues, and I don't even mess with the driving range anymore. It's not worth it. There's only so many swings left in this back. So I'm going to go out there and try and make them count. I'll try and loosen up a little bit, but and I'm not going to get any better by hitting on the range other than.
Loosen up. I'm not talking about like sessions,
okay.
Okay.
Don't do that, Bill.
No, if I'm playing it, like playing in the afternoon at like 3-4 o'clock when you're moving around already, it's just like go right to the first tee. But if I'm playing like 8 in the morning, it's just like, okay, I'm going to need to have some time here,
Yeah.
You have to try to touch my
totally agree.
Yeah.
All right, I got a couple questions for you, and we'll get you out of here.
Okay.
What is your favorite new course new to you that you've played in 2025?
I mean, shit, man. It's I played U of L Cardinal Club here.
Okay.
I haven't really strayed. I mean, we've been so busy. I've been playing golf locally. So U of L is absolutely amazing. Oldham County Country Club, we played one day and it was like, where are we? And why are these greens rolling 13s? Didn't make any sense.
Whoa.
Yeah. It was nuts, dude. It was absolutely nuts. And the wind was blowing like 25 miles an hour. It's just like you hit a chip and you landed like an inch on the green and it would roll like 40 feet to the back if you were downwind. It's nuts. So yeah, U of L Cardinal Club, the Oldham County Country Club was actually really, really amazing. And then obviously I played Valhalla and that was quite an experience for me. I put that up there with like Kiowa, Ocean Course, stuff like that. It was very, very awesome. But yeah, those especially U of L, the Cardinal Club and Valhalla, that's has been my staples for this year so far.
Nice.
I have to go to French Lick. I gotta get the French. Yeah.
Do what?
I gotta get French Lick is like an hour and a half from here, and just haven't been able to get.
Oh
out there.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like an hour and a half that way. I played Crooked Stick when I first got here. Literally got off the plane the first time, and then my buddy came and picked me up and we drove right to Carmel, Indiana, and I played Crooked Stick. That was quite an experience as well. You got great golf up here, dude. It's very different than
Yeah,
Florida
it's
golf.
sneaky good. It's sneaky good. Like there's a
Yeah.
ton right there around you.
Yep.
That hole at Valhalla that has the island green. Did you go for it? Did you lay up?
Of course I went for it. Pin high right in the water. Pin high right in the water. I tried it. I wasn't laying up. There's no laying up, dude. You gotta
I
go
love
for
that. I love that. So what is your favorite club in the bag right now?
it. Man, I really love all of them. There's not one. For some reason, I've been just smoking my 4-iron. For some reason, these irons that I got a couple years ago as a gift, it's probably the best irons I ever had. I switched a 5-wood with a 2 hybrid. That thing is ridiculous too. But I like 54 degrees, man. I like playing with 54 degrees. They're so versatile. You can use them anywhere, from 15 yards and in. It's great. I like chipping around. They got I'm a lefty, so I use that side, my imagination side of my brain, even though I play
Right.
righty. So, getting around the greens is really, really fun to play around with those wedges.
I
I'm a big
love that
fan.
you said that because so I'm left-handed also and play right-handed, and that's something I've never thought about it that way, but that's something I really love too, is messing around on a green and trying high, low, just all the different ways that you can go about hitting shots. That's one of the reasons I love Sweet and Cove so much, is because
yeah.
it makes your brain go in all kinds of different directions. Yeah, I've never thought about that.
Strong side leads, dude. Strong side leads.
Oh, you're right.
That's why I hit it. That's why I hit a fade, man. It's the baseball swing. Strong side leads. Can't get
Uh,
over it.
If you had a dream foursome, who would it be in? Who would be in it? They can be alive, dead. It's your choice. Who would be in your dream foursome?
That's a big question to ask. Obviously, my father passed away in 2018. Davis Love III, my father, and Payne Stewart.
Oh wow, that is a quality group right there. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Do you prefer to do sweep, or would you rather tee it off like golden hour and take in that sunset when you're playing?
Play whenever, dude. But yeah. I'll play by the butt crack of dawn, or I'll play, we have an hour left and we're on 13, hurry the hell up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
I
prefer
to play golf. I prefer to play golf.
If you had one wish for golf, like something you could change, and again, you're a genie, you can snap your fingers and change anything in the game of golf, what would it be?
If I could change the divot rule, maybe, or make a divot rule, no, I would. I do like a Thanos and get rid of all the idiots, because there's too many idiots. There's too many idiots on the golf course these days. I've never seen so many fights in my life in social media. And maybe there were a lot of fights back then, but it wasn't as brazen people with a camera. Now nobody ever saw it. But some of the shit that these kids do, or these people, it's shrinking the game. I don't like those people. They need to go away. They need to disappear. I'm not a big fan of it.
No, and I think you're onto something though, because social media has been around since I was in college in the early 2000s, and I don't remember seeing all these golf fights then. And it's like, to your point, there's a bunch of idiots that don't know just common decorum and play at a decent pace. And if somebody's playing faster than you, just let them go. Yeah, understand the rules, and then if they're playing faster behind you, let them through. But I love the Thanos reference. Snap the fingers and all the idiots
get them out of there. And like there's some big names. I don't like people like, oh, I'm this person. And people expect stuff because they have so many followers, and they treat staff like shit, and they don't tip. I know a couple big names that I won't say, but like, be respectful. I think it's like there's some kind of disconnect with respect, for another human being, but for golf. And maybe that's just me at 45 and I'm getting old. Like, you kids don't know anything about fucking respect. You know what I mean? But
right.
I see it a lot now, and it makes me sad, but it makes me angry at the same time.
No, I get it completely. I completely understand. And then one last question, because it's the name of the podcast. Do you hit the ball off the deck? And if so, why or why not?
I absolutely hit the ball off the deck. Off the deck it's absolutely great. I actually hit driver off the deck at Valhalla. No, I did not. I hit driver off the deck the week before. Skied a freaking 3-wood. For some reason, blasted it out there. And I have like 260 and it was like down and up like this. And I was like, give me the driver. I'm hitting driver off the deck. But off the tee, yeah, you gotta hit that little bunt cut to get it in play. You know, I'm in. It's that's a purest shot. I have a 1-iron in my bag right now, to tell you the truth. It's about 45 years old, the 1-iron. And that is probably the, if you don't hit it like on a dime, you're not hitting it at all. So if you really want to like test on where your game is,
pull the 1-iron.
Take that bad boy out. Take that bad boy out and hit that off the deck and see like how good you really are or how good you think you are right now. And then if you're not, just need to work on it. It's like the same thing as like hitting one of those clubs that, the club face is like that big, like the trainer. It's the same thing with a 1-iron, but you got to hit it like right here. But yeah, off the deck, absolutely. Why not? It's fun. It's fun. You got to make it fun.
I totally agree. And I'm sad that we have not gotten to play together yet. So we need to make that happen sooner rather than later. Yeah, I'll come up there. We can meet at Sweetens. We need to find somewhere to get together and play because I feel like you and I align on a lot of the same things about the game of golf.
Yeah, man.
And I want to drink more of your bourbon. I've had just a couple tastes. Had some at Main Street Meats. You had a whole flight on the menu at Main Street Meats right there in downtown Chattanooga.
Right, those guys are one of our first barrel picks.
Very cool. Okay. Yeah,
they're one of our first.
Had a blast there. Drank way too much of your product, but had a blast. It was delicious. I love the higher proof stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of anything higher proof, which I know is kind of your ballpark. And but look forward to drinking more of your whiskey, and hopefully we can play some golf together sometime soon.
Let's do it, man. I'm ready.
Yeah. So thank you for coming on, Bill. This has been a blast. Really appreciate you taking time to record and talk about your journey with all things Bender Stash, as well as a glimpse into your golf game right now. So for Bill Bender, I am Josh Decker, and this has been an episode of Off the Deck.
Cheers.